I might come in here one day and just pull these out and switch them over so
Yeah,
we
it
never
does
go
my head
through
in.
this problem.
Right, ready?
Okay. Are
Talk.
we good? Welcome to the Edible Valley Podcast.
We want to invite you as we embark on a culinary journey through the heart of Vancouver Island
From the fertile fields,
to the pristine waters of the Pacific Ocean.
we'll explore the stories behind the food that nourishes us.
Tune in to each episode as we deep dive into the flavors, the traditions, and the innovations that make this a true paradise.
Now please join us as we explore our Edible Valley.
Okay. Okay, let's start the podcast.
Get it going.
Yeah. Now, the funny thing is that the beginning of the podcast was you threatening to come into the studio that's been generously donated by 98.9 Jet FM. What, could you want to repeat that?
I was going to start moving speakers around and microphones and sort of redoing this so it's more custom for my own liking, I think.
You were joking though, weren't you?
Definitely.
All right. Well, it's great to say hello in 2025. I mean,
Yeah.
this is I haven't done any microphone work for 2 weeks because I did all my radio stuff in advance.
Right. So this is your warming up your vocal cords
Yeah,
again.
like
getting into it.
okay, and I've been in front of my desk all day. God, this is my life story. What's the word? Violin. I've been in front of my desk all day doing paperwork. What I'm trying to say is I might be a bit, excuse my French, today.
Oh yeah.
But I'm going to do my best.
We're gonna bring back because we're gonna be reminiscing.
We're gonna
about
reminisce.
all the good times that we spent in this studio.
We need a harp in the background.
We'll just
All right.
I'll add it in the back.
Okay, well, let's start first of all. I've got an accusation for you. Apparently,
No.
you've been going behind my back with a
Well-
podcast. I haven't. But is there a podcast that I don't know? You were literally the last episode. Wasn't me.
I know. We I brought in Erin, my lovely wife.
I love it.
And we talked about the Christmas spirit because what did you do?
We're having a baby.
You had a baby.
That's right. Yes, we were in the hospital from the 16th of December, jaundice case. So we had 2 weeks in the amazing maternity ward at North Island Hospital here in the Comox Valley, and unbelievable staff at that hospital.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Just 10 out of 10. So happy, so expert, so friendly, so kind, so knowledgeable. So anyway, we were there. So you went and did a podcast anyway, which I kind of felt guilty because I knew I was meant to do another one.
We had it all lined up,
Yeah.
and then stuff happened.
Yeah,
and we weren't
just didn't
able to
happen.
get in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you had a baby.
Oh, the baby.
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah. You became a dad for the second time. So that kind of took away from it. So I realized, you know what? We have some time. Myself and Erin sat down and we talked about our lovely little Christmas dinner we put together to sort of help out people to see if there was any ideas they wanted to put into their own dinners and that. So
On the subject of food, actually, I need to kind of praise the server that brings you the hospital food. He actually comes around and takes an order, and he said, "Now, would you like a terrible coffee?" And they literally know it. I mean, the coffee is awful. I don't know how you can make a coffee so bad that you would rather have water in the morning when you're not getting any sleep with a new baby.
You know,
but it's that bad.
You know what? I honestly think we need to have a little food talk about hospital food because I spent some time, unfortunately, in the hospital over this break here too because unfortunately my lovely daughter fell off a horse and cracked some
New
ribs.
New
Year's Eve. So it was a little bit difficult. It was a little scary because I was out of town with Erin again. And we were actually down in Seattle to find out this news. We got to go to the Pike's Place Market.
Oh, yeah, the Chuck in the Fish Market.
Yes, amazing. We did a chef's tour. Shout out to Eat Seattle. They do tours where you go down there and they take you through the market and they let you sample all the food and show you their favorite stopping spots and stuff like that.
Now, what is Seattle like? Is it not? Apparently, it's very, very similar to Vancouver.
It's very similar. It's a beautiful city. People are super friendly. I was there on New Year's. It was amazing. And we got to have some amazing food being down at the market. A lot of it reminded me of a lot of the foods we had here.
Yeah.
Just a switching of a label. A lot of the same products being done, Maybe some were better there. Some I thought we do better up here. But it was just a really interesting...
It's funny that I think we actually have a lot more in common with Washington than we do Alberta. And
true.
I
In
say
some
that
ways,
as someone
yeah.
who loves Alberta, has family, Eva's from Alberta. But I do think, when you go south and you go to Washington, Oregon, lesser extent Northern California, I think actually the same people. It's Cascadia, It is an ancient land, and I think there is a great deal of connection. So I feel my heart tends to go south when it thinks, who are our brothers on this globe right now? I'd say Washington State.
Yeah, no, and I really felt that down there. It was we had such an amazing time, and it's the same climate. We're in the same.
Yeah.
We understand it's going to rain. It's going to stop raining pretty quick. Like we can get by that. And the food down there was just fabulous. Like I just had such a good time down there.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
amazing.
yeah.
We really want to see Seattle. I'll probably go. Did you go on the Victoria Clipper?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
What
It
a
was
beautiful journey
beautiful
that
and quick, and as for being in the United States, was fairly expensive right now with the dollar exchange, but getting down there wasn't as bad. So we had some fun.
Can I say this with your with your Trudeau pesos in your Now look, that's not political. Actually, I know nothing about Canadian politics, but I heard that, and I'm aware that the Canadian dollar is a little bit lower than it used to be.
Yeah,
It'll bounce
lower.
back up.
It's dropping down.
It's fine. It's like a sea. Things go up and down. So, but anyway, the Trudeau peso, I just thought gave me a giggle.
Yeah.
Not being political.
We're going to talk about the last year, right?
Yeah.
Do you realize how many episodes we did last year?
How many?
Well, you did 13, but we did 14 episodes at the
Four.
end.
Yeah, you had to rub that in, didn't you? You bastard.
Yeah. So we did 14 episodes of Edible Valley podcast, right? And we got to meet a bunch of people, and I think you and me got a great time just bonding in the radio station here. Now that we're in
100%.
Jet FM, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
And
Did we start? When did we started out in Locals Restaurant, didn't we? Which was
Yeah.
another great place to be.
So I think we did 2 episodes this year before we actually moved into the 3 episodes before we.
Oh, most of them.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but being in a professional studio makes a huge difference.
Wow, did I say 14? Obviously, I can't read my
Oh, how many?
writing. It's actually 17.
Ah, wow.
So we did 6 episodes. So we talked about oysters. Remember we did an episode and I
Yep.
made you eat an oyster and you were like, this is...
Well, wasn't that at Mount Washington?
No, that one was actually at my house. My old house that you sold.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. That I sold, indeed.
Yeah.
Thanks for the plug. For a great price.
I was quite graceful that you were able to get such a great price for my house.
I remember that, and did I say, because if I said I didn't like oysters, I actually do like oysters. I used to serve, I used to do backroom stuff in a restaurant in Ontario that shall remain nameless.
Are you allowed to talk about this on the podcast?
Yeah.
Backroom stuff?
Backroom. It's past the watershed. We can talk about anything we want. And I remember when an order for oysters used to come through, it was often, because you neck them, don't you, like a shot. So it was often, 12 for the customer, 1 for me. I didn't even like them, but I just thought, you know what? My life can't be too bad. I'm eating oysters.
They're good and healthy for you as long as they're nice and fresh.
Indeed.
Exactly.
Indeed.
We also did a great episode on knives. We talked a little bit about
Yeah.
finding knives. I think we still have to revisit that one and come back and talk a little bit more about knives because I think we got
so all-encompassing, isn't it?
such a great one.
Yeah.
We also talked a lot about zero waste and reducing our food
Waste?
Yeah. It was,
Wow.
If you remember that, we had some really good techniques and some ideas for people to sort of take a little time to do. And some things I still do and some things I forget all about. So.
Take a leaf out the French. I mean, they eat they eat all of the animal.
Mhm.
I mean, they eat a lot of the animal. They naturally don't waste much. And I think, I know they were in the West, but I just find French cooking amazing. But they use all of it, and they use bits that we chuck away. And you're like, why do we chuck it away? It's delicious.
It's delicious. There's great bits. Yeah, we actually just did in my my cooking students. We just broke down half a carcass of beef.
Of beef. I thought you were going to say like a chicken.
No, a full beef.
A cow.
With full beef. We actually had Gunther Brothers. Travis from Gunther Brothers came in, and Butchery.
Yeah,
And so
that will be interesting.
He came into the class and actually broke down for my students to show how to really do it and do it right. So it was really amazing watching him work and how the skills he has with his knife, just to be able to, it's one of those ones when I can do it, but I got to think about it, right? But when you know exactly where to put that knife and where to, it's just a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah.
My only problem with him was being like, let's slow it down just a little bit so we can all identify what you're doing.
I bet that was difficult though, because it's just methodical, isn't it?
It's just that natural thing. So anyways, that was one of the episodes. Another episode we did, we were talking about just exploring spring, all the great dishes.
When did we do that one?
What was that? That was back in April.
Hey, I'm coming alive. Oh, right. Wow. Yeah.
And then we had one more that we did before we came into the radio station that I got to, because it's coming back again for me. But we did tailgate traditions.
Oh, okay. Everything's starting to come as it's sooner, as more recent. It's coming back into my mind.
Yeah,
I remember tailgate. Yeah, that was a good one. That made me hungry.
I know, and so that has really spawned onto something else for me because I'm doing the F3 podcast with Erin, where we do food, fantasy, and football. And
it's a big one for that, eh?
Yeah. And that's her love. And so, not that I don't mind watching a good football game every now and then. So we're going back to Super Bowl again this year. So we're going to do some myself and Erin. Sorry, Will, I'm going to have to leave you out of this. But we're heading down to New Orleans.
It's a little bit like when you bought the restaurant.
Yeah, a little bit. So we're going to head down to New Orleans, and so we're going to do some...
That is going to be amazing.
So we're going to reach out to some chefs and see what we can do, talk to a couple people. Hopefully we can get down onto Radio Row and set up and be able to actually do some recording and stuff like that. So it should be... We're super excited.
Yeah.
It is going to be the longest trip of my life, I think, because we're going to leave on a Thursday afternoon and basically all-nighter down to New Orleans, and then...
In Atlanta and then New Orleans, you said.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes. Oh, that is going to be...
And then we're flying straight back on Monday after the game and then back to work on Tuesday. So it's going to be a crazy adventure for me, but I think we're going to have a whole bunch of wonderful food stories from traveling down there. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Oh, that's going to be a good one for you. So, okay, I've got to mention one that I love. The actual highlight of mine was the BC Seafood Festival.
Oh my God, you took off at that. That was like, you were kind of like a little hesitant to go up there in the first.
Yeah, I really had a good time. It was a very fun, I think it's a bit hazy because I had a drink and I really hadn't been drinking much at that point. So I think I was a little bit drunk. And I was recording as well, but we had a great time, didn't we?
You were very chatty. Yeah, you had Ed Bell.
What?
You and Ed Bell made friends.
Oh, yeah, Eddie boy. Yeah, didn't I call him Ned Bell?
You called him Ed. His name's Ned.
Oh, he is Ned. Oh, God, I did it again. I'm sorry, Ned. He took it in good grace. Bless him. What a good guy.
That was one of my favorite moments of the whole thing. You're like, I'm here with Ed Bell. And then
a little smirk on his face.
He's like, my name's Ned.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun. And honestly, up Mount Washington, you just kind of think, well, why? If you're going up a mountain, you're getting further away from the sea. But then when you get up there, you see the reason, because you've got views of the islands and the
beautiful
Straits of Georgia. It was so gorgeous. Heading up the actual lift there, eating 2 chowders was really fun. Oh, it was a great trip.
It was a great time.
Loads of shellfish.
So much seafood. I ate so much crab and halibut. And, it was just great time.
I'll be honest, I didn't enjoy the crab. A lot of work. Yeah. And I actually, for some reason, had 2 bowls of it that I felt that I should eat. But it's a lot of work. And then everyone's eating faster. So, cracking open a crab is not easy.
It's a bit of work there.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I got all the leftover bits up in the kitchen, right? So now that was one of my dinners.
I don't know. I basically, when we had our first child, I put on 30 pounds.
Right.
That's food is my thing.
Right.
Anyway, so we had the child. I spent all last summer losing it. I was almost back down to the good plate, and I was like, yeah. And actually, that festival was my best day. And I look at the photos, and you look so good and healthy. And actually, after that, for some reason, I just went downhill. Now, of course, the reason I was going downhill is because we were having a second baby. So it's kind of ramping back up again. But here's the reason I went downhill. There's always a reason. So I left my wallet up the top of the mountain. I dropped, who was it I dropped down? I dropped someone at the bottom of the mountain.
That's right.
Down in Comox.
Yes.
And then I realised the wallet and I was like, I have to go all the way back up the mountain again. And so I ran into the gas station. I bought a giant bag of cheesies. Because it was gone midnight and I was just done with it. And after that bag of cheesies, well, it never went back into a good place.
Well, and that segues into our podcast about ultra-processed foods.
Oh, there we go. Cheesies aren't that bad, by the way. There are many worse. That was a good one.
That was
more of a William Rants about food.
Well, and it's something to really think about what you're eating and what are in there. And, you're allowed treats once in a while, but you have to really take care of your diet and take some time to think about what you're putting inside yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all part of the food adventure, right?
And the knowledge and knowing, we were in the Old Farm Market and we wanted to buy burritos. We're going to make burritos. Mm-hmm. And we looked at the ingredients of the regular tortillas that you might buy from the bread section. And we were looking at the diglycerides and the gums and we were like, you know what? It's actually not okay. We're not eating these things. Mm-hmm. It's not this is not food.
Of course.
We have a policy of only eating food, funny enough. And so we went into the freezer and found these ones that they weren't perfect, but they were much better.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it is about balance and it's about the knowledge. And if you were to have eaten those tortillas, you're not going to drop dead.
No.
You'll be fine. So,
but taking responsibility,
knowing exactly, the knowledge.
What other good ones? We did because me being up at the college and teaching right now, we got into a little bit about why get into cooking school. Fun episode.
That was a good episode. I enjoyed that very much.
And then we talked about the fifth taste.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, that was recently, wasn't it? It's getting closer.
We're getting really closer. Yeah. So we got into umami.
Yeah, I remember that. Gosh, I've learned so much.
So many little things that we've been babbling on about.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining in and listening with us. We really appreciate it,
We appreciate it.
We did a whole bunch about Thanksgiving and traditions. And then we finally got back into getting some guests in here.
That was great.
First guest we have, do you remember?
Yeah. Was it there? It was a cookery book.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that
Josie and
book.
Ryan.
Yeah, Josie and Ryan.
Yeah.
And my fiance Eva actually found that book and started reading it and then showed her mum. And Jill, who's my mother-in-law, difficult woman to please. She was like, "Oh my God, that's a fantastic idea. You got praise." From Jill, my mother-in-law. Well done.
Yes.
Tell me how you do it. You do it by a bloody good cookery book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they nailed it. And honestly, I have to say, mine got stolen from me.
Well, where?
What? Leslie. From the Chefs Association.
It's gone.
She's got. I'm getting it back, but
I was going to say, you're not having mine. It's basically, I think there was 5 bases that you actually spend the time making, and then there's this whole recipe book that just pulls up one of those bases. Mm-hmm. So if you can just invest a little bit of time to make the bases, then when it's time to cook, it's really quick because you've done the heavy lifting with the bases.
And that goes back to cooking school and classic French cooking. It's like building in steps, right?
Yeah.
You have your bases there, and then you work forward from there. So it was a beautiful cookbook, and I think it's one of those ones that it makes it easy for someone to get back into the kitchen and actually do that.
Yeah.
And get away from those ultra processed foods, right?
Yeah.
And then this one was one of my favorites, and it's going to be a good shout out, but we had Mary Jane Douglas from Ridgewood Farm.
Yeah. Oh, that was a laugh.
Yeah.
And she was so nervous, but she was so good.
Oh my God. The knowledge that she has about cattle and farming. And I love
meeting people like that.
So interesting to talk to her. And she didn't hold back anything. She let it all go. And then, of course, she was there purely, and she really wanted to promote Burger It Forward.
Yeah.
So that's coming up soon this month. I honestly was in a Chefs Association meeting today, in our executive board meeting, and I realized that I don't know what restaurants in town signed up for it yet. So I have to actually reach out.
Yeah, that's exciting.
We're going to do the Chefs Association is actually going to go to one of the places and go all for burgers just to
be part of it.
Just to support Canadian beef, right?
I love it.
Our local beef, all our good stuff. And so, super looking forward to that. Because as you said, what did you say about burgers? You don't need to promote burgers. Everyone loves burgers.
It's, it doesn't need promotion. But it's in a very, very good cause. And I love a good burger.
Exactly.
So yeah. Oh, that was a great show. But was that the last one we did?
One more, because your good friend, Dean.
Oh, Dino! Yeah. All right. So now he was the former owner of the Courtenay Country Market.
Yes.
And he talked to us about grocery store logistics.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I hope there are always going to be independent grocery stores around. I suspect there will be. I expect it'll probably start growing because people are really appreciating that connection. But the skill and the knowledge that comes from that man. His background was in quality foods, the store, and then he went off and did that. And oh my gosh, that was fascinating.
Yeah, it was great little stories, and
There's
sort
a
of
lot
got
to
you, really interested. And reach out to these small little independent markets and really check out what they've got for you, because their market's changing. As he said, it's when he was doing it, they were more on that grocery store. Now it's really specializing because you can't compete with the big box stores on big box store items. And
absolutely. And then that was Dean Garrett, and he's actually my mortgage broker. He's doing us up a mortgage as we speak. So little plug for him there.
Exactly.
He'll get you a great deal, Dean Garrett.
Exactly. And so that was our year, and I had a lot of fun. And I just want to thank everyone for listening, because our listenership has gone up quite a bit over this year. So
has it?
Thank you so much for the support out there.
Yeah, good. Has it?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, good. That really means a lot.
So we're reaching out to people, and it always surprises me when someone asks me, like, "Oh, I heard about this on the podcast the other day."
Oh, amazing! Yeah, that's good.
So
it really does. I mean, I've since I came to Canada, that stopped with the jet, but I've worked for my fair share of, excuse my French, stations before. And my first one was actually a radio station in England for the University of Sheffield. And oh my gosh, this was a rubbish station. We actually came in after Christmas holidays, and we were doing our show for 2 weeks. And then the station manager came in, and he was like, "Guys, we haven't even switched the station on for the year. We've been literally talking to no one. I mean, don't get me wrong, there probably wouldn't have been many people anyway.
Right.
But I mean, oh God. So when I hear that people have actually been, listening and enjoying it, I mean, we enjoy it because we enjoy chatting and talking food and meeting people. But that means a lot. That really does mean a lot. That's great. And any ideas you might have out there listening to us, if you have any ideas, please do reach out, because we will. I mean, if you don't, we're just going to keep on doing our best. But if you have any ideas, please let us know. We'd love to know.
And you know what? I have been very busy this year, and I've been able to connect with a bunch of people. And I think we have a really good lineup this year.
Amazing.
For
all
podcasts.
Right.
So we got a lot of local producers, a couple farmers.
Great.
We got a couple cooking professionals. So.
Last year, we were both struggling. You were moving into this North Island College role, in a big way. It was a big year for me in real estate. It was it formed my second year last year, and it was a lot of building for me, and coming out and to do this podcast was very, very difficult to put that time aside. But I did. But this year, I think we're kind of a bit more in a good zone, aren't we?
We got a nice little rhythm going here.
Time.
So our goal is to be every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
As you say, every fortnight, right?
Every fortnight, yeah. And we'll do it.
And we just want to reach out and have a really wonderful year. So
person's listening, well, keep on doing it. As long as it's a good person.
Well, let's get real. As long as Jet FM lets us in here, I think we're all good.
Yeah. I've still got the little blue key that lets me in. They might find out we're doing this, and then we're in trouble. No,
it'll be trouble when that happens.
And we are going to be featured on Jet FM's website, My Home Ox Valley, now very soon. So that's going to help. There's a lot of technology that goes involved to synchronizing the things, but that is happening in the back room with their amazing, industry-leading technology department here at the Jet. So thank you again. And, if you're looking at advertising or you want to get involved with the local community, this is the radio station that is the heart of this community, and it sits in the heart of this community in downtown Courtenay. How amazing is that? So do get in touch with the advertising team if you want to get your shout out for your product, because nothing attention like the radio. They're driving, they're focusing on one thing, the road. They're focusing on the second thing, the radio.
That's right.
Yeah, there we go.
It's true.
A little plug. And thank you guys for letting us use the studio.
And the other thing is we have our Patreon site up now. Podbean, our host site.
Anyone on that yet?
Yeah, there's a couple people that are giving us a little bit of support. So we got a couple tiers. If you want to come in and support us and help the show keep going, you can go directly to Podbean. You're going to have to set up a site, and then you can become a Patreon for for us to help us actually produce and
Yeah.
keep this show going. Because there are a few expenses that come along with
Yeah, I
doing
was going to
this.
say it just goes into buying little things like I think we want little microphones, don't we? So we can do the up at Mount Washington.
I
a
want to
little
get
bit
some
more professionally.
T-shirts and some coffee mugs.
Oh, you want to do that?
I would totally love to do that.
Would you? I'm going to say this to you now. Would you want to perhaps do these things early in the morning, like on the weekend?
Ooh, that could be a possibility.
All right, and then we'll do it. We'll grab a nice big coffee.
And just sit
We'll
here.
do it. We'll
And
either
then we can invite people to have coffee time with the Edible Valley.
Yeah, it might be worth it. Yeah. So it'll either be amazing, it'll be really awful, but we're going to try it.
Because that's how we roll at the Edible
Yes.
Valley podcast.
All right. Well, somehow that was 25 minutes and 52 seconds. But that was good. A nice trip down memory lane. It's genuinely, it's put a spring in my step. So thank you very much
Thank you
for listening.
I'm going to say thank you, Will, for being my podcast buddy here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Do you know about that? It's an office thing. You can either just add a thun or a thee to the end of someone's name. So I'm Willathy.
Willathy.
I'm Willathan. But you're Jonathan, so I'm making it Jonathan.
That sounds
Does that make
cool.
sense?
It makes sense to me.
All right.
Thanks for listening
Yeah,
to the
thank you
Edible
so
Valley
much. There's no
podcast.
one listening still, surely. It's Edible Valley Podcast, episode number, and I'm William Stringer, realtor for Royal LePage in the Comox Valley.
And I'm Chef Jonathan Fraser. Thanks for listening.
Cheers.